There is some talent in this field.
Well, there sure is, and it is an odd distance. It's a very strange event to hold. In fact, Adam, you and I called the OFSA Championships, the Ontario Provincial High School Championships, a couple of weeks ago, and this is the distance that they run there on the girls and boys side. But normally, at the top level, it is the 3000 m steeplechase. Matt Hughes, of course, our national record holder in that event and a very experienced runner, now retired, an old teammate of mine. But we are we have the pleasure right now of seeing on track some of the best in the US, including Mason Ferlick there, that very tall man. His his handle on social media is Hey Big Bird. And he told me recently it's because one of his first days of university he showed up in very short shorts and he has these skinny legs. And someone called out to him, Hey Big Bird, and it stuck. So he's been known as Big Bird, and he lives up to the name very well. So Mason Ferlick, an outstanding steepler in his own right. In fact, he was the steeplechase champion in the NCAA back in 2016. And don't be surprised to see him up front. But you're right, this is such an odd distance, so that the seat times really don't matter. And I really think that this is going to come down to just a good, solid race, which is something I love when you're racing an off distance.
So we've got the men's 2000-meter steeplechase going, and we've got the women's shot put, the final throws here. Sarah Mitten still leading. And it will take a Herculean effort to knock her from the top spot.
Well, again, like you said, she'll step into the ring next. She's got that very recognizable red hair, wearing that light blue tank right now. Always on her game. She is the epitome of focus and professionalism, and I love what she is able to do. Not quite as far on that throw. It looks though, just wondered if she might have faulted that.
She
Doesn't look
did, in
like it will be
fact, fault
measured.
that. But
So
it won't
she is one
matter.
of these athletes that can, that's right. She's so far ahead, she can, I think that's sort of a nod to the officials and to her competitors that we're not going to take time to measure that. I know it's not as good as what I've thrown, but I was starting to say she's the epitome of professionalism and focus when she's in the ring. And then she's everybody's best friend when she's out of it, and such a cheerleader for all of her competitors and the rest of the field. But now a good race on. And I just wonder, Adam, if that is Andy Bear ahead of Mason Ferlick. Andy Bear, one of the best steeplechasers ever in the US, multiple-time national champion, and look at how comfortable he is over that water barrier. He actually retired recently and came out of retirement, and I had the pleasure of calling this race on NBC Peacock at the Music City Track Carnival in Nashville, Tennessee, a couple of weeks ago, where both of these men raced. And I believe that is Bear up front, just looking so, oh, it's Michalski actually, looking very comfortable. Another, I believe, one of Ferlick's teammates.
Michalski running first, Ferlick second. And they've opened up a big lead on the rest of the field right now. But speaking to the long legs there, Kate, I mean, no issues just leaping over that hurdle.
So this is always the test of a really good steeplechaser. You'll see it here. Always, Matt Hughes said to me, again, our national record holder, multiple-time Olympic and World Championship finalist, he said, how dry are your spikes at the end of a race? It's more true for the men, of course, because their barrier is higher. They have generally longer legs. They're able to push off further. But if you're a male steeplechaser, how dry are your feet when you cross that finish line? And if you have any dry patches on your shoes, it means that you have executed an excellent race because you've cleared that water barrier significantly. You've wasted no time, and they just make it look so incredibly easy.
Michalski continuing to lead with Ferlick staying right with them. Mason Ferlick, as you mentioned, Kate, the NCAA champion, a 3,000-meter steeplechase back in 2016.
Well, and he's made up that gap now. He is right on the heels of MICHALSKI, our leader. Again, who is just clearing these barriers so easily. And it's, again, so interesting. A 2000-meter steeplechase is really the sprint equivalent of this race. I just saw a little glance over the right shoulder there of FERLIC, and I just wonder if he is feeling a little bit of the fatigue starting to set in. This is such a grueling distance, and these guys will come into the finish line and hear the bell, 4:24 on the clock, and they are neck and neck.
MICHALSKI leading the way, but FERLIC right there on his shoulder. And now FERLIC will move into the lead. And FERLIC putting a little daylight between him and MICHALSKI. Both no issues with that hurdle as they get ready to take the final water jump. And FERLIC is through fine, and he is really opening it up now on MICHALSKI as they come into the final straightaway. And Mason FERLIC over that final hurdle, no problems. He is going to take the win here at the Johnny Loaring Classic in the men's 2000-meter steeplechase. MICHALSKI will come across for second.
And that was a fabulous last 300 meters for Mason FERLIC. Unsurprisingly so, he is a 3:35 1500-meter runner. 3:35, that is a brilliant time on a flat 1500. He's a sub 4-minute miler. He runs a 7:49 flat 3000 meter. Oh, and by the way, he's a 13:24 5K guy. So this man has incredible depth and strength, as well as some fast turnover and speed. And again, his experience showing through, wonderful close by him, and really, really fun to see these guys, again, contesting an event that you don't usually run. You know, Adam, when I was competing professionally, I flirted between the 1500 meter and the 3000 often, and I ran one flat 2000 meter outdoors, and it was my favorite event because it was so unknown territory and you're just racing. 5:25.60 for Mason FERLIC. Again, hard to put in context, but an absolutely fabulous run by him. MICHALSKI, who did so much of that work out of the U.S. Air Force, rewarded with a sub 5:30 performance at 5:29.56, and then 5:41.53 for PARRISH, also out of, I believe, that very nice track club in Michigan. So excellent running by that trio of Americans up front.